Got a question from Michael. And Michael says, I was in the worst condition of my life a year ago, feeling weak and lethargic and unable to do much exercise without feeling lower back pain and sore hips. My hips were so tight and stiff, it hurt to do much of anything. I got a dog a year ago and have been walking her about a mile every morning and evening for the past year. You know, Stu McGill's book, where he talks about the miracle of walking before dinner every night, every meal. A 10-minute walk before every meal. It's great. I picked up some kettlebells along the way, and I've increased my strength by doing box squats, deadlifts, and shoulder presses 3 to 4 times per week, in addition to the walking. I'm doing much better, and my hips are better, but still have some stiffness and soreness, especially in the left side. I have gotten into a 15-minute per day hip opening routine, and it seems to be helping. I would love to progress further and start kettlebell swinging, but I find if I do too much at all, 2 sets of 5 swings with a 12-kilo kettlebell, my lower back hurts. I've watched videos on my technique, and I think I'm doing it correctly, but the pain is enough to make me stop. I have pulled my lower back out on several occasions over the years, and I think there may need to be some way to strengthen that area without much pain. What would you advise to help safely strengthen my lower back so I can progress to swinging and other exercises? I feel like my hips and lower back are the main areas that are making it difficult to progress. Well, the first thing I'd say, let's just not do swings. Okay, let's just mentally say, let's just put it out of the equation. All right, you've had injuries, your technique is solid, but you're not getting there. So let's just mentally erase it, okay? There's a couple exercises. Now, I feel like I'm hedging into medical intervention here, and I apologize, but let me just give you a few ideas that have worked in my career and for people I know. First off, when it comes to hips, I don't think there's a better way to do it than Original Strength, Tim Anderson's great program. I have his booklet on Original Strength for hips. I also have his longevity. I probably have 10 of his books or more. But the one he has on total hips really helps me. So for me, there's an exercise called rocking that helps a lot. And then the whole segmental roll family and, of course, egg rolls help me with my hips. Now, I have titanium hips, so this is very important to me. And of course, the last thing, and I do this huge amounts of my training, the cross crawls. Right hand, left knee, left hand, right knee. You can skip doing it. You can sprint doing it. You can march in place. We have a bunch of ways we do it. So I think you not only just need hip mobility and hip work, but I also think you need to kind of teach your body to sing together. Right shoulder with your left hip, left shoulder with your right hip, and everything else. So first recommendation is look into Original Strength, especially on the hip stuff. Number 2, if you can't swing, do hip thrusts hurt you? See, I like the hip thrust. Today in the gym, we had someone comment that, when they first heard me say that, hip thrusts are so much faster and easier to teach versus a kettlebell swing, they thought I was crazy because I'm a kettlebell instructor. And then they started doing hip thrusts, and it's like, oh, this is so much faster and easier. So that would be something I'd like you to think about instead of swings. The third thing, if you can do these. Now, you can do them on the floor. They're called they're sometimes called scorpions. Sometimes they have different names. But I'm face down on the ground, and I'd raise both legs as high as I can. There's another exercise that's going to be called hyperextensions in the weight room, but cross your arms and you just bring yourself up. And of course, the third variation is Superman's, where you lay on the ground and you arch yourself up to that your hands, arms, and upper chest are off the ground, your feet, your legs, and some of your hips are off the ground. From there, you can move into the barbell or loaded hyperextension. Great exercise, a real favorite of mine. Sadly, it's gone out of fashion in the past few decades and generations, but it's a great exercise. So I'm just thinking out loud that I'm giving you exercises that I do every day, and I think they're a great idea. Let's just circle it and pin it for you. So Tim Anderson's original strength, at least look into it. The hip thrust, the hyperextension, and maybe the ab wheel. That's a nice little combination. Doing those 3 exercises. Now, obviously, just as I say that, I'm thinking out loud that if you can do suitcase carries, I don't know if you can or can't, but if you can do, those are one-handed farmer walks. That combination of the hip thrust, the hyperextension, Superman, whatever you choose, the ab wheel, and the suitcase carry might really get you to knit up that whole middle part of your body. And if you're working on mobility with your hips and lower back with your original strength, and then you're working on the orchestration of this part of your body with the hip thrust, the side bends, and the ab wheel, and the suitcase carries, I think you might progress. Now, getting back to this thing called the swings. Put the swings mentally like that's something I want to get to. Let's make sure we got a great solid foundation here. I would like to see months instead of weeks of no issues with the lower back before we try to progress from here. I would even say, if that doesn't work, I would even say years over months with no lower back issues. For all the listeners, I mean, if I could get everybody just to do an overhead press variation, ab wheel, suitcase carry, hip thrust, and that Superman, that's not a bad program. That's not a bad program. I have a program here on the YouTube called the Perfect Program, and you'll see some of the variations that I said sort of show up in that workout too. I hope that helps, and let's get these back issues behind you, okay? All right, thank you.